Welcome to room 1208. I'm your girl Mona Lisa. I am so excited that you are here with me today. I know that you could have been anywhere, but you chose to join me today, and so I'm grateful that you're here with me today. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So today I was supposed to have my girl Marcy on with me today, but unfortunately scheduling conflicts didn't allow her to be with me today, and plus it's her birthday weekend, so we're going to schedule her for another episode. And then I said it publicly, but I want to say it, I said it privately, but I want to say it publicly. Happy birthday to my girl Marcy. So today everything works out good because today I actually wanted to talk to you guys about something that I was scheduled to talk to you about, but later on in the season, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that was very near and dear to my heart. And it just so happened that I was driving the other day and I heard something on the radio that I was listening to, a little program that was on HLN, and it was a program about this woman who killed her husband that she was married to for some odd years, and he was this well-known preacher in the town that they lived in. I believe it was in Ohio, and she wound up killing him. They had 3 children. During the trial, it came out that he used to abuse her, that she was a victim of domestic abuse. Nobody knew. Now they saw the bruises on her in previous incidents, but she made up an excuse as to where the bruises and the cuts and everything came from that was on her face. So she wound up killing this man. She said she don't know how she did it. However, she killed him. Trial goes on, and as the trial goes on, all of this comes out that she's being abused. He had her dressed in provocative clothing for sex and all of that kind of stuff. So as I'm driving and I'm listening, I'm like, wow. And it just brought back flashbacks because I didn't kill anybody before y'all start. But for those of you who don't know me, and those of those people that are very close to me, they know that I was a victim of domestic abuse. I try to put that part of my life, leave it in the past, because I survived it and I'm doing okay. But it's things like what I heard while I was listening to this program that something clicked in me and said, you need to use this platform that you have to talk about domestic abuse, because there are so many people that's out there that's going through it that are ashamed. And I'm here to tell you that you shouldn't be. Don't be ashamed of it, because it's not your fault and it's not your issue. It's the abuser's issue. They're the ones that have the issue. We are the victims. And so what clicked in me that made me want to talk about this topic is one of the prosecutors or police officer, he made a statement, and this was a recent episode. This wasn't something that was years ago where domestic abuse isn't more talked about. He said she didn't have to kill him. She could have took the kids and went to a neighbor's house, went to a family member's house. Come on. I have 4 kids, and I know what always sat in the back of my mind. If I go knock on somebody's door with my 4 kids and bags of clothes and say, can I please stay with you for the night? Who's going to let you in? And be honest. Be honest with yourself. Are you going to turn them away, or are you going to let them in? My own family knew that I was in a domestic abuse relationship, and they probably was thinking because I stayed with him that I liked it. That's not the way to think. I'm telling you guys right now, that is not the way to think, because the victim of domestic abuse is afraid of this abuser. They're afraid because behind closed doors, this abuser is saying things to them that they believe. I know I believed it. Talks about, if you leave me, I'll kill everybody in your family. When you've been seeing some of the stuff that they done to you and to other people, why not believe them? So it's the fear that makes you stay. I felt like I had nowhere to turn. And another thing, I felt like I didn't want to get anybody involved in what was going on with me, because it was a situation that I chose to not to stay, but nobody told me to meet this man. No, I didn't know that he was going to be an abuser. Did I know early on in the relationship? Yes, I did. The signs, did I know the signs? No, I was 17 years old when I met this man. I was 17. I was 30 when he passed away. This was my first husband, the father to my children. Now, let me put it out there. He was a good father, good provider, but he was not a good husband. I chose to stay because I was afraid. I was trying to protect my kids, trying to protect my immediate family from him, and I'm like trying to figure out how to get out of this without involving anybody else. I didn't do a good job at it, because the first time he did it, I was naive. Like I said, I was 17. He said, I'm not going to do it again. I believed him. I didn't come from that type of environment. My family was, my parents were loving to each other, to us. My dad didn't curse at my mom. My dad didn't raise his voice at my mom. My dad loved my mom, and it showed in the way he treated her and the way he treated us. So when my first husband said that he wasn't going to do it again, I believed him. I didn't know no better. Months went on. We went on to have a child. While I was pregnant, he did it. He hit me again. I had my son. He was an infant. We got into a fight where this fight showed that I was being abused, because I had a black eye, nose swollen, graze marks to my face. I was messed up. And at that point, I knew I needed to get away from him. Didn't know how to do it, because my family saw these marks, but nobody did anything. Nobody said anything. So now I'm 18, 19. Now I'm trying to figure out, how do I get away? How do I get away? As the years go on, trying to get away, and ups and downs, and breaks from the abuse, and me thinking that I had enough good in me to rub off on him, that eventually it would stop. It didn't. It got worse. And the years went on, it got worse. Fights. I tried to protect myself. He never put his hands on my kids. Like I said, he was a good father. Never abused my kids, never beat my kids. Well, our kids, he was good to them. Horrible to me. And that's how it usually is. And I just wish that I had somebody to help me, or somebody to talk to me, somebody to guide me out of that situation, because I tried to do it on my own. And it wasn't until year 13 that I started praying about it. And it's like, God, please help me. I can't do this on my own. I need to get out of this situation. And I decided to leave. For those of you who are married, you know that when you own property with somebody, even though it may just be in your name, it's still marital property if you attained this property during the marriage. So I couldn't put him out, even though I don't think I had a protection against abuse order at the time. But I tried. So I said, I'm going to leave. Packed my kids a bag, and I left. went to knocking on my parents' door. I need to stay here. My dad made a paddle for my kids on the floor. I'm telling my age when I say paddle. And for those who don't know, a paddle is just some blankets that you make a pile it on the floor. So my kids were sleeping on the floor. I slept on the couch with my infant son. And we stayed at my parents' house for a few months. We stayed there. And every day, my husband would come. I need to just talk to you. I need to talk to you. I would make sure that I either came home late from work or went straight in the house. I didn't want him catching me getting off the trolley. I didn't want him catching me getting out of a cab. I just was trying to be off the radar. Work was my safe place. Inside my parents' home was my safe place. It wasn't until one day he caught me coming in the house. And scariest moment ever. This was early on after I left. So I was probably there for like maybe a week or two. And he was getting frustrated because before I would sit down and talk to him. But me avoiding talking to him was getting longer and longer, so he was getting more frustrated and more frustrated. So he caught me coming in the door one day. I don't know where he popped up from, because I swore that I looked and I tried to make sure that I didn't bring no drama to my parents' house. He came and he ran in the house. We're fighting. Nobody was there. We're fighting. It just so happened that the neighbor across the street saw him running after me, and they heard all the noise, and they called the police. That's how he wound up staying away for the rest of the time that I was there. But he was still calling and everything. Then one day I was standing on the steps, and he pulled up and he was crying. He asked me to talk to him, and I felt sorry, and I did talk to him, and I let him persuade me to go back home. I went back home, and he was different. He was different. God allowed me to see him in a different light that I had saw him in 13 years, because God knew what was coming. And for my sake and for my kids' sake, he wanted me to have peace within me. So fast forward, I went home. Probably like a month and a half later, he wound up getting killed. Because I was able to see him for them 2 months in a different light, it allowed me to not be bitter when he did die, and say, still carry this anger and animosity, and say, I'm glad he's gone. That's what he get. Now, granted, to be honest and transparent, because I said when I started this podcast that I was going to always be honest with you guys, I did feel a sense of relief. Because even though we stayed away from each other, I didn't see this man go to no counseling or talk to no therapist. He didn't show me no proof of any of that. So there was always in the back of my mind that this anger was going to come back out eventually. I'm glad that it didn't. However, I'm glad that I didn't have that feeling in me. And then sometimes, I still have those moments where I think back and I'm like, what did I do to him that made him treat me in that way? I'm the person back then that I grew because I got older. I evolved as matured, had kids, different environments. So I matured and I evolved. But I was still the same kind person that I am today. Respectful, not disrespectful, because I was raised in a good home. So I would sit and wonder, like, what did I ever do to this man that made him so angry towards me? Then I had to realize that it wasn't me. It was learned behavior that he learned, that picked it up from somewhere. I don't know. I wasn't there. All I know is what I experienced in them 13 years. He was angry for some reason. I don't know. That learned behavior, it can be corrected. It can be corrected if caught. And I didn't really want to share bits of my life this intimate with the world, but I feel like I can help somebody, because I know that there are people that are actually going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I say this to say, if you know somebody that is going through domestic abuse, please try to help them. If they knock on your door in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, with their kids, and you can see the fear in their eyes, and you can tell when they're being sincere and when they're really crying out for help, don't turn them away. Don't turn them away, please. Now, I know that it's hard to bring you to bring people in your home. You want to discuss it with your spouse. You want to discuss it with your mate, whoever you're living with. You may be living with your parents and might have a close friend that's going through it. Talk to the people, other people in the house, and make a conscious decision. Talk to God and just pray about it real quickly, because you don't have no time to waste. Bring them in your home for a night and be clear with them. I'm going to help you tonight. You can't stay here long, because this is not my house, or I haven't talked to my husband, but I love you, and I care about your well-being, and I care about the well-being of your kids. I'm going to let you stay tonight, but tomorrow we're going to make a plan. You're going to go get a protection against abuse order. We're going to find you somewhere to go. You can't stay in this situation. Don't turn them away, because you never know what can happen. You turn them away and they go trying to seek somewhere else, and in the midst of them leaving from your doorstep to somebody else's doorstep, they die. And we see it all the time on the news. We see it all the time on these shows like Fatal Attraction and stuff like that. So please don't turn them away. Just give them a day, give them a few hours, depending on what time of day, they're crying out for help. First thing in the morning, take them somewhere and get them some help. But please don't turn them away. Even bring them in for a moment. Make some phone calls. Try to, see what you can do. Just try to offer them as much help as possible, but please don't turn them away. If somebody would have reached out a hand and helped me, I don't think I would have stayed in it as long as I did. And I want to say to my children, I already said this to them, but I want to say it to them again. I'm sorry that you had to endure seeing your mother go through that. I'm sorry that you had to go through that fear. I'm sorry that you had to grow up seeing your dad in that kind of way, because he wasn't like that with you. So I want to say I'm sorry, and I love you guys, and I'm sorry. I can't say it enough. Y'all know that I love you. I always try to protect you the best way that I knew how. I thank God that my kids, all the stuff that they saw and all the things that they heard, that they didn't grow up like that. My daughters, they are in loving relationships. They haven't shared with me that they went through anything like that, and I thank God. My sons, I thank God that they didn't grow up with that type of anger, because all I tried to do was show my kids love. And to say that today, in today's society, these kids are not being shown love. They're not being shown love. What they're being shown is they're given cell phones, iPads. It's nothing wrong with giving your kids a cell phone and iPads to occupy their time, but not 6-7 hours out of the day. Mind you, they're in school 4 hours, so when they come home, you're going to give them the iPad, you're going to give them the phone, and let them be exposed to things that you're not teaching them for 3 or 4 hours out of the day. Sit down with them, help them do their homework, teach them love. Everything is a teaching moment. And you have to raise your kids in a way that they're going to be productive members of society. What we're seeing today are kids that are growing up with no structure. They're growing up with no love. They probably never even heard their parents tell them that they love you, if their parents are even raising them. No, it's kids that's 6 and 7 year old going to school with guns. Come on. If you want to have a gun for protection in your home, have it legally and have it locked up. Or teach your kids about gun safety. You see a lot of these gun-toting families out here. They teach you, go to a gun range, you'll see kids in there shooting guns. I'm talking about kids that's 8 and 9, 10 years old shooting. They might not can't own a gun, but they can learn how to shoot. They're in their parents' backyard out there where they living on acres of land. They're shooting them, teaching them how to shoot, and they're teaching them about gun safety. We're not doing it as a black community. We're not doing it. It's kids that's taking guns to school, bullets to school, showing it off on the school bus. They don't understand the magnitude of what they're doing. Guns are dangerous. It can either kill them or kill somebody else. Please teach your kids about gun safety. If you're going to have a gun in the home, they shouldn't even know where the gun is. If they don't know about gun safety, they shouldn't know where the gun is. They shouldn't know where the bullets are. You shouldn't even have it out around them. Please teach your kids how to be respectful children. The respectful children grow up to be respectful teenagers. Then they grow up to be respectful adults. Teach them about love and kindness and respect. If you don't teach it to them now, I'm telling you, put some money aside. If you're going to be one of those parents that's going to be putting money on their books, traveling back and forth to the prison to visit them. But to avoid that, just teach them now. I see parents walking their kids across the street, toddlers, or 9-10-year-olds, crossing them across the street in the middle of the street. You're teaching them not to obey the laws of crossing the street. Everything is a teaching moment. Cross them at the corner. It may seem corny, but you're teaching them. You're teaching them to cross, because you see it on the news again. People getting killed by people driving. They don't even stop to see if you're okay. They don't wait for the police. They don't even call the police. They don't even care. They probably don't even look out their rearview mirror to see what it is, see if you're moving or not. They just keep going. Excuse me, y'all. My throat getting dry because, as I told y'all before, I like to run my mouth, but this is some serious stuff, and I wanted to talk about it with you guys because it's important not to adapt to that mentality that, oh, if they want to leave, they can leave. No, they can't. Sometimes they can, and don't get me wrong, I know I didn't enjoy being in a situation where somebody, you never know what you can say to a person that can make them just snap and want to slap you, choke you out, you pass out or whatever. You don't know if they waking up on the right side of the bed, wrong side of the bed, or whatever. You gotta watch your movement, because you don't know their movement. There are some people who that's love to them. Hell, it wasn't love to me. Shoot, you fighting in the car on your way to work, and then you gotta go in for 8 hours and put on a happy face because you don't want the people that you work with know that you're going through this at home. So, speaking of that, I did have a co-worker who I did have the opportunity to share with her, and she was so sweet. God rest her soul, Athena. She knew, not in grave detail about all the things that I was going through, but she knew that I was in an unhappy situation. She used to invite me to church, and I used to love it. She used to take me to the beach and everything just to get me out of the house with the kids. And sometimes, she would just take me by myself just to get away from that, because she knew that my kids wasn't going through that. Just for me to have some kind of solace within me. And I love her for that, and I miss her so much. God bless your soul, Athena. But please, take the opportunity to talk to your kids. Take the opportunity to find out what's going on with them. It's so many kids that fight not because they want to. They might be going through some things themselves. In school, they might be being bullied. You don't want your child to grow up to be a bully. And they see that if they're being bullied, they turn that anger to other people, because they see that keeps them from being abused and mistreated. So find out what's going on with your kids. Sit down and talk to your kids. Find out where they're going. Find out where they want to go. Find out what they want to be. Back when I was growing up, I don't remember my parents asking me. We came from a loving household where everybody wanted to come to our house and be around us because our parents were decent. You know, my mom would sell food out on the side of the street, but I don't, and you know, not on the side of the street, but she would sell food. Everybody would come and buy food and just hang around us and everything. But I never remember my parents asking me, Lisa, what you want to be when you grow up? I didn't know anything about going away to college until I was sitting in class and I'm hearing my classmates talking about what college they got accepted to. So talk to your kids. Don't force college on them, because I done sent all 4 of my kids to college. I don't have a college graduate. I even graduated twice from college and still working on my master's degree. None of my kids graduated, so college is not for everybody. I tried to, you know, set an example for them to go back to school, hoping that it would encourage them. They didn't graduate from college, but they did graduate. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to take that back. My youngest daughter did graduate from culinary school. Congratulations, Shanice, again. And Alicia did graduate with her CNA and medical assistant, so congratulations on that. My sons, they like to rap and they do their own thing, and they learn by it probably was just a gift, you know, doing all the engineering things with the music. They're great at that. However, talk to your kids, find out what they want to do, find out what they want to be, and encourage them, and try to be involved with what they're doing and what they're doing every day. You know, call your kids if they're adults. Find out what's going on with them. Talk to them. You know, what you doing today? How you feeling? Don't let them shut you out, because kids who are depressed, they will try to shut you out. But you got to keep pushing, and you got to keep pushing and showing them love and showing them that you care. I went through depression, didn't realize that that's what it was that I was going through. And actually, after going through therapy, and there's nothing wrong with going through therapy, talk to people. Sometimes you need to talk to people who don't know you, so you can get a realistic expectation of what's going on with you and what you need to do to get yourself back on track. I realized that going through therapy that I wasn't depressed. I had PTSD from all the things that I went through in them 13 years of my first marriage. And through therapy, I'm learning how to not carry bits and pieces of my past into my future. The person that I'm with is not like the person that I was with. So I have to look through a lens of newness. So in order for your kids to grow up to be productive members of this society, please try to train them and teach them how to love on one another. I don't understand what's going on in this society right now. I know, well, it's just my opinion, that a lot of the things that is happening seem to have happened right after COVID, after this pandemic, and we were allowed to come back outside and be free. It's just cars being, people being carjacked. A cop just got killed last night in Philadelphia because of trying to apprehend a carjacker. They beating up innocent people just for a cell phone or a watch or glasses, sneakers. It's dumb. Teach your kids to go out and get a job and work hard like we did. I'm an older parent. I have a 20-year-old, but I'm an older parent. We got up and we went to work. I got my first job at the age of 12. I started paying taxes at 12 years old. Granted, I lied about my age because they wasn't really checking back then. They didn't really care. They just wanted you to do the work. But our parents allowed us to get up and go get a job. I lived in Philadelphia. I worked in Stratford, Pennsylvania at the age of 14. I went to school, got out of school early, got on a train at 30th Street Station, traveled to a whole nother township to go to work for 4 hours. Got back home, did my homework, got up every day and did this. My parents allowed us to grow and experience. Allow your kids to be productive citizens of this society. You'll be proud of them. You don't want to see your kids on the news. You're not aware of what they're doing every day, and you're just sitting, having a cup of coffee, whatever you're drinking, cocktail like me right now. But find out what your kids are doing. You don't want to see them on the news. That look like my kid. But he done ran into a store, trashing a store, or robbing a store. You don't want that. It's embarrassing. And if you're trying to do right, and I know it's a lot of families who may not be as in touch with what their kids are doing because they're working 2 and 3 jobs because it's so hard out here just to have the minimum and the minimum things you need just to get by. Hell, eggs is $8 a carton. And if you got a household of 4 or 5 kids, you need 6 to 8 dozen of eggs every 2 weeks just to feed your family. And it don't seem like it's getting any better, so you gotta put in these hours. But in the same token, while you're at work, you gotta still know what your kids are doing. You can't take a break from being a mom. While you're at work, you gotta be thinking about calling them on your break. Make sure you get your homework done. Shooting them a text message when you can. When you get home, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Throw the load of clothes in the washing machine. When you get home, I need you to start dinner, whatever. Or if on one of them days that you are off, prep your dinner for as many days as you can. You always got to be a mom. You always got to be a dad. You always got to be on top of what your kids are doing. Check on them. Make sure they ain't out ripping and running the street. Make sure that they in the house doing what they supposed to do. You got to stay on top of your kids. If not, I feel sorry for them. I feel sorry for them. And it's sad. Kids 17, they can't even, 15, 16, 13, can't even go to the store without being afraid that they gonna get shot in the store, in the corner store, just to go grab a bag of chips. It's sad. Parents can't even just, you could just be driving down the street minding your business, caught up in a crossfire, getting carjacked. This is very sad. You can't, you get in your car, you gotta just drive off, buckle up as you going, set the GPS as you going, because you don't have no time to sit there or double park and wait for somebody. You want to go pick somebody up, you gotta, I'm on my way, I'm around the corner, be on the step. You gotta be mindful of what's going on, because unfortunately these kids have no guidance, and it's sad. It's sad. Pay attention. Circle the block a couple times. If you see somebody lurking around, don't call. If you want to go pick up somebody, I'll be right there. Something don't look right. Something don't feel right. Or walk to the corner. Hell, women can't even wear a pocketbook no more. You gotta be walking around with a Wawa bag as your pocketbook because you trying to deter thieves and opportunists. But you don't want your kids to be the perpetrator. Teach your kids how to love. Teach your kids how to grow up and be successful members of society. Teach them how to love on women. And for moms and dads, the dads, love on your kid's mother. Even if y'all not together, respect them. Because they're raising your children. Don't be calling them bitches and hoes and all of that stuff in front of the kids, even if they might act like bitches and hoes. Have a conversation with them on the side. Don't teach your kids that. Because you don't want your kids to grow up disrespecting their mom. They're eventually going to be somebody's boyfriend, somebody's husband. And it goes the same for women. Don't be disrespecting your kid's father or your husbands in front of the kids. Everything ain't for your kids to see and hear. Have a conversation with them outside. You might disagree with them, but y'all gotta be united front in front of them kids. So talk to them. Talk to the parent, the other parent on the side. Agree in front of the kids. Don't do that in front of the kids, because the kids, they're gonna pin y'all two against each other, and then you're gonna be a family divided. Even though y'all might not be a couple, y'all still a family. So teach your kids how to love on each other as siblings. You got siblings that don't even talk to each other, and I'm a victim of that right now. I don't talk to my family as much as I would like to. You know, when you try, you could keep hitting a wall. What you do? Give up. You still love them, and you still be cordial and respectful, but friendship, that got to be something that's taught. So teach your kids to be friends with each other. I commend my daughters. My daughters are best friends with each other. They always work together. They always live near each other, within probably 2 minutes of each other. And I love their friendship. I love their friendship. I love the bond that they created, and I love the love that I instilled on my kids. They might not, my sons may not talk to each other every day, but they phone call away. We may not see each other every day, but we a phone call away. And good thing for FaceTime, you can always FaceTime your family members. Reach out, find out what's going on with somebody. If anybody out there is going through domestic abuse, please, if you just need somebody to talk to, you need some help, call me. Call me. Shoot me a message. Hit me up on Facebook. Mona_Lisa, aka Mona. Call Lisa. Call me. Shoot me a message. You know, I will do the best that I can. I promise I will not turn you away. I promise I will help you find some kind of out. When I tried to call 1-800 domestic abuse line, I didn't get the help that was advertised. It was advertised that you call, you can get the help. They switch you from line to line to line. By the time you done got choked out, you trying to get some help. I'm trying to get out today. You can't be bounced around. You don't have that kind of time. The 1-800 suicide line. Oh, if you're in this county, no, I need to talk to somebody right now. I need connections. So if you're going through anything and you need help, I promise I will not turn you away. Reach out to me. I will talk to you, give you as much guidance as I can, steer you in the right direction. I want to do whatever I can to help you. I promise I will not turn you away. And please, if anybody come knocking on your door looking for help, I got to keep checking the time, because like I told you, I run my mouth and I'll go over, you know, my time that I want to stick with this episode. But if somebody come knocking on your door, please don't turn them away. If you know somebody, if you can't take them in, and you know somebody that could, or who wouldn't mind, say, come on in. You can't stay here, but I got somebody that I'm sure will let you stay tonight until we can figure things out. Don't turn them away. Offer them some help. God will bless you for it. I'm telling you. Be a blessing to somebody, and everything that you go through in your life, the blessings that you go through and the things that you go through is not for you. It's for you to offer a blessing to somebody else. And you gotta help somebody. I didn't get much help, but I'm always there for anybody who need me. If I can, I'm gonna be honest, I can't. But I can help you. I can't help you, but I can help you find somebody that can. So I'm asking for me. If you love me and you respect me, and you sincere about wanting to help somebody else that's going through domestic abuse, talk to somebody, reach out to somebody. And even if somebody shared with you a while ago that they're going through this, you know that they're still going in that situation, reach out to them. Reach out to them and ask them, has things gotten better? Because sometimes it has. Sometimes people do get help, and sometimes people do turn a page in their life and try to live a better life. So just reach out to them and let them know that that you're there for them if they need a shoulder to cry on, or just need somebody to listen to them, or need some help getting out of the situation that they're in. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I didn't never think that I would get on here and talk about it in this way, because I used to be, like, I don't want to tell everybody what I went through, because people, they judge you. But I realized as I got older, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't, I didn't grow up in it. I wasn't taught to be weak. I wasn't taught to be strong, but I was taught, what I did gain out of the situation, I'm a survivor. I done been through some things through that marriage, And then after, becoming a single parent of 4 kids, I'm a survivor. Because if anybody knows you living on one paycheck, thank God I've always been blessed with good jobs. I was able to always have a car, multiple cars at one time, to be able to transport my kids, my family. I was always able to feed my kids without any help with public assistance. I thank God I was able to clothe them. They may not have the name brand this and name brand things that they may have desired that they had when their father was alive, but they had clean clothes on their back. I didn't shop at no thrift store. I didn't shop at no, and I'm not knocking anybody who have to. You got to do what you got to do to survive. But I thank God for the favor that He had on me. So I was blessed, and I want to be a blessing to somebody else. So if anybody out there that needs some help, that is going through anything, please reach out to me. I promise I'm going to do what I can to help you. And I thank you guys for joining me and listening to me again run my dang mouth. But this was a serious topic, and I wanted to talk to you about it and share with you the things that I went through. So until next week, remember to love, to laugh, and to live, and help somebody. Help somebody. Do it for you, and do it for that person, and do it out of the name of love and God's favor on you. Help somebody. Peace.